office hours for SmartThings. And I wanted to jump right in with a new challenge. We are going to call this the App Challenge, and during the course of the office hours, we're going to come up with a reasonably difficult app to be written and see if our summer intern Zach can write it. So I put it out to the crowd. What do you guys think would be interesting to have Zach write? Herman, I'll call on you first.
Pass. Write an app that if you use it too many times, it automatically deletes itself. That's my vote. Jesse looks confused.
Sorry about that. I think I had an audio problem. What did I miss?
Literally nothing.
So do we actually have the ability in the platform to have an app delete itself?
You know, we've never tested that, but yeah, it could probably just call the uninstall handler. I'm not entirely sure. Seems like a good thing to figure out.
Maybe, or I guess we could even just have it, test a variable to see that it had been called once. Interesting.
And just stop firing. All right, how about Zach, I think you're muted if you were just talking. I was thinking maybe a version of Notify Me When that has an optional cool-off period. So, for example, in a windstorm, I have a Notify Me When someone knocks on my front porch door, but in a windstorm, it goes off nonstop. So even just a modification of that only sends the notification if it hasn't been sent recently, whatever that optional timeout is set by the user.
Okay, I already wrote that, but I can send it to you once.
All right.
Here, let me find this. You know,
Since this is the intern challenge you just failed, you're supposed to say I'll get right on that, and then at the end say, oh, it was really hard, but I totally got it.
Someone make me chug a beer. Chug, intern.
If I was actually in China, maybe, but it's not legal here.
All right. Well, let's see if you can pull up the code and let's paste it into the chat feed.
All right. One moment. Let me.
I'm getting a beer. Anyone want a beer?
All right. And welcome to Eric. To catch you up, we have Zach, our intern, challenged to write a smart app that is like Notify Me When, but with delays built in, so that you don't get constant notifications if there's a windstorm or something like that. He's just told us that he has actually already written it, so he's about to paste it into our chat window. So lots of pressure. I don't know if this, if you accomplished it that quickly, we probably need another idea.
Yeah.
So anybody Eric, if you want to just type something in the chat window as well, a suggestion on what we should have Zach write, please jump in. And I guess anybody else who's watching via YouTube, feel free to email build@smartthings.com, and we'll keep an eye out on that as well.
What's intern going on about?
Yeah, Zach, what are you seeing? Oh, I think you're muted, Zach.
God, intern can't even figure out a microphone.
All right, well let's go on from there while Zach does his thing. Yeah, what's on everybody's mind today? Yep. Let's I guess jump to my backup plan, which was to have Erman tell us a story about the legendary shot pouring machine that made it on television during the last Summer Olympics.
Okay, but no one's here, so.
You know it'll be recorded. We could tell the story again. What do you
When
think?
someone comes in, you have to tell it twice.
They could be watching it on YouTube.
I don't know. What do you want to know? There's like, I don't know.
Where did
So,
you start?
Yeah, tell us where you started, what was your idea, and what did it take to do it?
Well, the version that was there that we used that was actually V2. V1 was a mechanized thing that would tip a bottle forward and then tip it back, and it had a metered spout on it. So it looked cooler. So you see the bottle actually like tipping forward and pouring out. But the problem is it was on a motor, and the amount time forward tipping changed with the weight. So you can tip it forward all you want, but you wouldn't get, the same. This is awful. Let me see if I can. Nah, I don't have anything here. Then the second,
What did you do in V2 to deal with that?
there was we used a. You can probably find a link of it. It was just in bars. There's this little thing stand that's got the bottle upside down. If you push a glass up to it, it'll pour. And some of them are even metered to 1 ounce exactly. So had a servo pulling up the little valve to open it, and it poured out one shot and then stopped. And that was consistent because the bottle was upside down. The weight changed. It was still going through like a valve instead of a spout. And then just tubes and funnels into, and then we just waited for America to be America and win.
How did you know when we won?
Because we were competing.
How did your code know?
So it was actually it was a Python script scraping a Python script scraping a website that posted live numbers. So whenever one of the numbers in the field would change, like a bronze, silver, gold, I would update the website. Python script would grab it and go through different script that was running an XP in the computer, and then.
So now, with the platform where it is today, there are some alternative techniques you could probably use with some of the REST stuff, right?
With what we have today, it would probably take,
like 2
2
seconds.
hours.
Yeah.
As opposed to whatever 2 weeks total time it was. And instead of setting raw commands, which is where we were back then, you just send pour or whatever. That's what we have now. There's actually I think it's in the sandbox. It's just shot.pour. Right, it's on our T-shirts.
So I just saw Zach just posted his code. Zach, do you want to talk us through how it works?
God, intern, get off mute.
Zach, you're on mute.
Maybe he's after he figures out the mute button, should screen share and we could look at the
He's
code.
not on mute. Okay. I will. Can you hear now? Zach, keep saying something.
Hello?
Now you're there.
Here, an intern got it. Well, he had it.
Nope.
Yeah. Gone again.
Intern. Get it together, intern.
Zach, can you screen share?
See if I can. All right, let's see. What was his trick here? Okay, so it looks like in send message he's created a schedule that's checking, I believe, once every minute. Yeah, let's see. It'd be great if we could get him to tell us about it, but Zach, what happens if you pull the plug on your headphones and just try and talk directly into the laptop? All right, well.
We're not paying him, right?
He's a good negotiator, actually. He says, I'm not a mute, promise. See if you can disconnect and reconnect, Zach. But anyway, yeah, it looks like he's checking it once every minute and using that to send the message. And
Let's have him write a smart app that keeps a constant. Does he have an Aeon around?
He does.
How about a smart app that keeps a constant luminosity in a room using a Z-Wave dimmer?
That is really cool.
Kobe!
Can you hear me now?
I think I just heard you, Zach. Say something else.
Ah,
Nope. All right, well, your new challenge, I think, from Ermin is actually pretty tough. Did you catch that one? Give us a thumbs up if it was yes. All right, no thumbs up. Ermin's challenge is to try and keep a constant luminosity in a room using the Aeon Multi to detect the lumens and a dimmer switch. So I guess as luminosity goes up, you'll dim it down. It's a good challenge. I like that one a lot.
you can't do it, you don't eat this week, intern.
I guess the question is, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I guess the question is, how is the dimmer switch reflecting, it depends on how powerful the light is, right? I mean, we don't know offhand how many lumens, full brightness is and how many lumens 50% is. Do we?
So what I would say is, just sort of test the threshold and say, okay, if it's above the threshold, let's go down 1, and we'll just keep on checking until it goes the other direction. And once we get past that, we'd say, all right, add 1. So it's constantly trying to. What do you think?
We could try that. Okay, sure.
Anybody else in the crowd? Scott, how would you go about programming it?
That's a good question. I usually just make Ermin do all my work.
It's true, and I usually just end up not doing it.
Lord, that keeps the luminosity in a room the same.
So we've got a couple other people who just joined.
Okay.
Yeah, welcome to the show. We're challenging our intern, Zach, to write an app that keeps constant luminosity in a room using an Aeon light sensor and a dimmer switch. So the new challenge is for him to try and complete it before the end of office hours. So Zach, see what you can do, and feel free to. Well, it wasn't supposed to be easy. You did the first one too quickly, so we'll see what we can do, and hit us on chat, and we'll throw out ideas as well.
Yeah, I would think about responding to luminosity events. and try to change it that way.
And if you can't do it, you have to chug a gallon of milk.
All right, so cool. So then Ermin was actually just sort of telling the story of our Olympic shot pouring machine. Do you mind doing a quick recap and then sort of picking up sort of toward the end of the story?
Sure. Yeah. Just basically, it was an Arduino with the shield on it, the XP shield, that was controlling 4 different servos that would pull up a valve and basically gravity feed shots as they came in. I think I can find a link to the probably the rig that I used.
So one of the stories that I love that you were sort of talking about was how you got to the place where it was a stable build, and it what it actually looked like from beginning to end.
Yeah. You know what? I could probably. Yeah, give me 1 second.
So I'll jump in with sort of my ending of that story. Ermin's shot pourer was so popular that ABC wanted us to show it again months and months later after it had been lost in Ermin's move. And so my first day with the company, the night before I was trying to build one really fast so that we could show it off. And mine was hilarious because I didn't actually have the parts that Ermin had. Mine was made from a small bilge pump that was used to pump water out of a boat. And it didn't make it on TV, but I thought it looked cute. I took a tin that was used for holding cookies and made a little hole and had my bilge pump sort of shooting out with a tiny little spout to it, and then tried to sand it down. And it actually had a decent sort of pseudo stainless steel look to it, but not nearly as cool as Ermin's original prototype. So to be improved upon on my end. I think mine probably could have delivered giant shots very quickly, though. So.
Yeah. The pump version is my V3 prototype, and it's a lot better, a lot faster. But the first version I had basically was a learning experience, and it was awful. It was just like suspended a bottle like this and had a string that pulled it back until it poured, and it would bring it back. But the problem is, as you lose liquid, you have to start going higher and higher, and that was an awful thing to keep track of. Instead, version 2 had this rig where the bottles sat on a valve, and when you pulled the valve up, it would release exactly 1 ounce. And so you could just, I had a servo that just pulled it up, plugged it back up. That's V2, but V3 is using the pumps. It's a lot better. You can get exact measurements based on time. You don't have to worry about volume or speed. So the pump's doing everything itself. And especially with a pump, if it's a food safe pump, you can mix multiple things in one cup. So you can make full drinks. So that's coming soon, because I don't like making my own drinks anymore. Now it's going to grab a rag and clean this all up.
I love the demonstration, Ermin. So I just noticed that Juan showed up. Juan, I'd love to have you sort of talk about what you've been working on, and yeah, just jump right in.
Hi everyone. Sorry for the delay. I'm connected from my phone because I couldn't connect from my laptop. So one thing I have been working on is notifications. Audible notifications. The idea is being able to play an MP3 that will notify me when something happens. For example, when I got mail, or my laundry is done, or my 3D printer finished printing. So here is one of the prototypes. I'm using an Arduino, the SmartThings shield, and an MP3 shield that basically connects to the SmartThings cloud and whenever one notification is triggered, I can play a certain MP3 that will allow me to know that if something is happening.
That's pretty cool. I love that you made it sort of as a response to Jeff in the last hangout. I thought that was really fun. I guess your whole reasoning was that the Sonos was kind of overkill, and
well, I guess that I was trying to look for a cheaper alternative rather than like buying expensive piece of hardware like a Sono. I would like to have notifications that are dedicated to my SmartThing, and this is a very cheap alternative. Like, if producing this should be very shouldn't be very expensive, and it could be dedicated directly to SmartThings and not depending on if I'm playing music or something else, or I'm using my Sono device.
And so we found that you actually had a lot of possible cheap memory on there using the SD card. Did we ever figure out what the limit was?
No, really. Originally, with the first library we were trying, the problem was that you have to format it in FAT16, but that's no longer a problem. So I think you can use any SD card.
Cool. And then I'd love you to talk about what you did with your MakerBot and how that notification system works.
That's very simple. Basically, I put a multi-sensor there, the one that ships with SmartThings, and I'm tracking vibration. Basically, if it starts vibrating and it lasts for more than 1 minute vibrating, I assume that I'm printing something, and after I'm tracking that until it stops vibrating, and if it stops for more than 30 seconds, it sends me a notification telling me that the printer has finished.
You could use that for washing machines and dryers too.
Originally, that was my idea, but I finally ended up using my multi for my 3D printer, which is more annoying because I never know when it will finish. And I can time my washer machine right now, but I'm planning to extend it later.
Nice.
It's cool. It actually is Maria of SmartThings' favorite app, the one that uses a multi to detect when her washing machine's done, because apparently her washing machine gives up after 5 minutes periodically, and so we customized one for her so that she gets notified if the washing machine gives up. Well, very cool. Actually, Juan, I wanted to show you something. Let me see if I can grab it really quickly. Juan made me this awesome 3D printed iPad stand, and I just used something called PlastiDip to try and coat it in this really nice sort of finished coating that I guess I would describe as feeling like the rubber that's on iPhone headphones. Let's see if I can find it. It looks pretty cool.
PlastiDip is awesome stuff. I've seen people coat their cars with it, which is super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a Google Glass?
Yes. Yeah, hopefully I will write an integration with Google Glass 2 and SmartThings to get notifications on my glass.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I love it. So here's my PlastiDip, and you literally just drop whatever it is into this goo, and 4 hours later it's coated. Couldn't find my holder, but I'm excited to mess around with that some more. So let's see, any of the other folks in the audience? I see a couple questions come through. From Craig, he asked, did anyone get the core egg working? I know different variations on coffee makers. Anybody from the crew want to jump in with thoughts on that?
On the Keurig?
Yeah, where were some of our other coffee maker approaches?
See, those are tough because they require the ones that take little cups, right?
Craig says, yeah.
Yeah, it's those are rough because they have their own microcontroller going on and off when they think so, as opposed to the standard coffee pot that you just turn on and let it sit, which is easier to control, analog. those digital ones probably need some. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm also skeptical to rip one of them up because they're so nice. We go for the office to rip up. I'm just going to end up bringing it home and I broke it.
Yeah, I guess I've tried two different ways that on other devices that are somewhat similar. One was just to make a momentary contact on the actual button itself. That works all right. We did that in the baby monitor. The other one that I was creating for one of our backers in New York, and I want to go and try a second version of it, is an elevator button pusher. So it was a little servo that physically called the elevator for him when he opened his front door in the morning. His elevator, I can verify, was incredibly slow. So the concept was that it would be 30 seconds or a minute faster for him, without him actually having to think about it. And if you did think about it, you could actually call it from a button and save the 3-minute wait. Let's see, what do we have? Okay, cool. Wow, this is awesome. So Craig says, not sure if you guys know, but Ed Boon, the creator of Mortal Kombat, just got the SmartThings kit today. He's
What?
That's awesome. Can we have Mortal Kombat integration?
Yeah. That goes to the top of my list.
And so he was asking about Nest integration, which is something we've talked about a bunch of times. Scott, maybe you could jump in and sort of give the thought on that.
Yeah, with the Nest, they don't have an open API right now, but we would be looking down the road to integrate with their cloud-to-cloud API if they had one. I've seen people have posted example Python scripts to interact with the Nest on the local network, and we haven't tried that yet, but it's on the short list once we get integration with the hub to local area network-based devices like the Sonos or the Wemo or Philips Hue. So we're definitely interested in Nest integration as well, and would be on the short list once we get a little bit further.
Yeah, and I guess the other emphasis was that there just wasn't, I believe there isn't an official Nest API, and so we had some hesitation there about using the hacked version that is sort of been publicly shared.
Right. And Greg just asked, what about Hue lights? We've been saying that it's coming. I would say, not this month, not in July. We've got a little bit of work yet to finish on the next hub firmware version that would be able to support local area connections to the Hue, for example. And then we have probably a couple weeks of testing that, and then roll those hubs out, and then we could, or roll those firmware updates out to people's hubs, and then we could have integration with Philips Hue.
It's pretty cool.
There's also IFT, which has that integration. It doesn't have Nest, but it might.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, any fans of IFT in the crowd? Folks in there. Juan, have you ever used IFT?
I haven't, only for email and certain things. I haven't tried. I did try the API with Python on my Raspberry Pi, and it does work, although it's not encrypted, and you have to pass your email and your password in a URL. So I don't know.
Gotcha. I've been pretty impressed by what I've seen, and I think that, I don't know, are we talking about our connection with IFT, Scott, at all?
Only that it's still coming. I don't think it's been released. I don't think that IFT has released the SmartThings channel.
Gotcha. Cool. And actually, Craig, could you come on? I'm curious about your question over acceleration vibration. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, go for it.
So, I got the SmartThings over the weekend, and I reached out to Alex. My front door has the SmartThings multi on it, and I didn't realize at first that it says, hold on, notify me when. So I have acceleration detected. So I didn't know at first that that was actually like a vibration, like a knock. So I mean, thinking is that looking at it quickly, don't think acceleration is actually considered vibration. So I reached out to Alex over the weekend, and he says the app should say acceleration / vibration. It's just a lot of people might get confused with what acceleration really is. You might think up and down. Vibration is like a knock, or a knock on a door or a surface.
Oh, that makes sense to me.
If you look at the app now, it says motion here, contact opens, acceleration detected, switch turned on, arrival on. So right now, when I have a knock at the door, I have contact opens for when someone opens the door, and I have acceleration detected. But a basic user might not know that that actually means vibration also.
I'm totally with you, and I think that's one of my my favorite use cases. The sort of virtual doorbell is pretty fun, and it's similar to what Juan was able to do, and for Maria. So I'm along those. I'm along with your thinking.
I believe he passed it out to Bob. Warren.
Yeah, that's Bob's area. I mean,
Cool.
I guess we have to agree with. It's a good idea. We should write that one down.
I think this is Jesse here. I just wanted to throw one thing out. I mean, some of the thinking behind that was that it is an acceleration detector in the device, and so we want to be a little cautious, not making people think that it can detect super faint vibrations. It certainly does work for a lot of washing machines. It does work for the mail monitoring and such. The door knock generally does work. But it's not the most sensitive. It's not a vibration detector that's inside there. It is an accelerometer. And so there's just sort of a fidelity thing there that we want people to not expect that it could detect like very faint vibrations. So I still think it's a good idea to clarify, but we just need to be a little cautious there too, that people don't expect that it can detect everything, because that's not the sensor that's in it.
Understood. It's just when I was setting it up, I saw the videos of like the knock on the table. I was like, what option is this? What app do I install?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
As a user
totally
seeing that
makes
video,
sense.
I was a little like, okay. Thanks, Jesse.
Yeah, that totally makes sense, and we are considering for future revs of these things different sensors in there as well that may well be able to detect down to a lower level. So.
Cool. Thanks.
And then let me reach out to the rest of the crowd. Anybody else with sort of questions, apps they'd like to see, things like that? And I guess I should go back to Zach and see how he's doing.
Yeah, see if he's earned his food for the week. Intern.
He's in a huddled mass under his desk.
Yeah, just crying in the fetal position. Oh God, why?
Hello?
How are you doing, man?
Good, I'm getting there.
Cool, cool.
I still have 20 minutes, so.
Yeah, you're in good shape. Feel free to ask some questions if you need any ideas.
No questions needed. Just let me finish this.
All right, go to it. That's cool. Up a little earlier in the question list, Doug Berman was pitching another app. Well, maybe we'll have to save this for Zach to write next time. Doug, do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Sure. So at my house right now, I have a few dehumidifiers in my basement, which I'm kind of thinking I can turn off entirely if I just turn on my AC for a few small periods. So I don't know what everybody else's situation is, but in Minnesota it gets like very humid for brief periods. So I don't really care as much that it gets cool, just more or less clearing the humidity out of the air. So running on a periodically just to dehumidify my house versus like getting to a set point temperature, which is what normal thermostats will do. So I was thinking with an app, you could just have it set to a random temperature on a schedule and have it loop while you're in let's say, a mode that correlates to you actually being at home. Because I probably don't really care if my house is all that humid when I'm gone, or maybe I have a different period that I would set when I'm gone, so it stays not super humid, but a little bit.
I like the idea. Oh, here we've got a follow-up question here.
Yeah, we've been having trouble with sunrise sunset the last few days to a week almost. We actually right now have a developer who has figured out what we believe the issue to be. So hoping that as early as tomorrow that would be resolved. But we do follow-up testing on our released apps. Many of us have a lot of the different apps installed. I know, for example, I have Light Follows Me installed a few different times in different areas of my house, and I have Notify Me When installed a bunch of times. So we have some passive testing just by virtue of having them be installed. We also have a QA team that runs through a bunch of different regression testing with each weekly release. And so we do follow-up testing on those apps, and Sunrise Sunset has been a painful one recently, but hopefully that will be resolved this week.
And then for Craig, you just sort of asked a little bit about how we're putting out release notes and how to know when new apps get released. I know we do a little bit of that through our newsletter that you can sign up for, I believe, on our build site. But Scott, what do you think? How else are we releasing that info?
That's a good question. I don't know that we have a good defined process. The weekly developer emails are supposed to help with that somewhat, and like you said, the build site or the weblog. But that's something that we've talked about needing for a while, and I guess we've actually never done anything about that.
We're stuck on choosing which platform to use for version control, and we were going to use. I think we're just going to end up using GitHub, and I guess we'll have to send out a nicer, polished version of changes and things that happen each push. But
yeah, and I think in these early days it probably makes sense for the weekly developer email to include new apps as well as updates to existing apps. Longer term, we're going to need something in addition to that as well, because right now the developer list encompasses most people who care, I think, but over time we're going to get fewer and fewer developer-minded people who are still going to be interested in discovering new apps.
And that new blog is coming, right? That's not out yet, but it's coming soon, isn't it? There's going to be a blog that's maintained by Elliot, I believe.
Yeah, that's incoming. I'm not sure what the plans to do version changes on there, but I mean, might as well, right?
Yeah, I would think that once we have a system in place to give better release notes, that then we would want to make sure from our blog that we link to those with each release so that people have one place they can go to and see, link off to those and things like that.
I was just looking right now to try and find the place to sign up for the developer email. Anybody know off the top of their head where I should be looking?
I don't.
I know I found it recently because I signed myself up, but we'll find that in a minute. Let's see. Then I wanted to sort of throw it out to anybody else who's joined us a little bit late. If you have any ideas for apps you'd like to see, questions or comments, please jump in. Use the chat feed or just start talking. And let's see. Ooh, I'm sorry, just clicking around. Yeah. So, what else should we be bringing up and discussing?
Oh, found it.
Oh. Would you paste that into?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm the hero.
Nice work.
Right.
So I know that in this upcoming newsletter, we're going to be talking a little bit more about what Juan built. I think he's going to be our sort of maker of the week. Let's see, and in over the past few weeks, we've definitely put out some interesting stuff in those emails, largely talking about web services. We've had a few different tutorials that Ermin and I have put together. So it's a neat place to look for, sort of the most recent changes and some of our cutting edge stuff. And let's see, our most recent question is from Jeff. He says,
yeah. So Jeff just asked or mentioned that he's interested in getting notifications when the hub might be down. Just in the last week, we've been working on our internal status updates for tracking when hubs go offline, and so that's something that we've wanted to do from the beginning and has been easy to sort of push off in favor of other features, but we're definitely working on that now and are looking to hopefully release something in the coming weeks to send notifications. One of the issues, I think, is just understanding and allowing people to modify their notification preferences. How do you want to be notified? Just in-app notifications, email, text message, right? Different people want to be notified in different ways. But Jeff, just like you, I definitely want to be notified as soon as my hub goes offline. So it is something that we're interested in doing and are working on right now.
We have the ability to show it in-app right now, right? Is that, so I have...
We do.
I don't know if you can see it. Probably not very well.
Hold on, let me,
we'll have a little pop-up that'll show if we detect that to warn you. So if you open the app, you'll get that. You also can always go look in your settings and view the hub. It'll show a green ball if everything's good and it's active, and it will show yellow if it's inactive. But like Scott said, there's additional work we're looking at doing to make it more real-time and let people know right away.
That sounds good. I've definitely had the same challenge, and I think it's very helpful to see that overlay in the app to just sort of know, all right, I'm going to have to go check my internet connection. But it'll be nice to see some of those changes come in the future.
I'd like to warn intern he's got 10 minutes, or else he's going to chug a gallon of milk.
Oh man. Ermin, would you do an app challenge in a later week?
Yeah.
Do you think you're up for it?
Probably. It's not going to be very good, but it'll work poorly.
I think it should be a physical challenge. Like, we start up and we say, all right, it has to do something with a servo or something like that. So maybe for next time.
We should set up like locations around my area and see if I can use my mobile presence to hit them all within the hour.
There you go. Like a game. That's a great idea.
Like a lie. Like everyone can watch me as
running that. It's running that.
We can set up a notification that when my presence hits this, fake location on a geographic map, see if I can hit it all in time.
Can I pick the locations?
Yes, as long as they are within 3 feet of each other, I can probably make it. Or I'll give you what you can choose anywhere in my apartment.
I'd like to see another one where we just hide the siren somewhere in Ermin's place.
God, the siren! I'm scared of it. It's so loud.
You can only turn it off by finding a button hidden away somewhere in your place.
So on that note, Scott, he already know what we're talking about. We got a new siren in from Aeon Labs, and it comes with its own button, like a wireless button. But no one told us they came in or anything. So our Z-Wave developer, Duncan, hid the siren in the Maker Lab and wrote on the button, "Do not press." So it sat there for like 3 days with Scott and I looking at it, just like debating whether we press it or not, see what happens. I ended up ripping the button apart, see what was in there, see maybe if I could find something to connect it to. Finally, we broke down and pressed the button, and it was hidden, and it was just so loud. We finally find it, and I pull it out of the wall, and it's got a battery backup, and it just keeps on going. And since I dismantled the button, the battery fell out, and like I couldn't put the battery back in to turn it off. It was just, Duncan, I'm gonna get you back. So they're just so loud. I get how they work for a house. That makes sense. I'm glad they're that loud for a house. But I have such a small apartment, and then our Maker Lab's so small, and then just that tiny room. It was just ear-blowingly loud.
Yeah, it was really loud and really, really funny.
I think it was the mental anguish that it took us. It took 3 days for us to push that button.
Craig asked when the mailings go out. Craig, they typically go out on Thursdays, but because we like to line them up with our internal release schedule, in recent weeks it's gone out a little bit later, either on Friday or Monday. And there was not one last week because of the holiday.
We've got another question from Jeff that just came in. Did anybody want to take a shot at that one? Let's see.
What thermostat is it?
Yeah, it should. That's a good question, Jeff. What thermostat is it?
Side note to Greg, that's a known bug, the dimmer slider on the App Store release. The iOS devs are going to be able to fix it for the next release. But,
I guess back to Jeff on the thermostat. It sounds like that's one we should take a look at internally and see what we can come up with.
Yeah, with the thermostat, we do poll those devices to try and make sure we're staying in sync. But we should try that specific one to see if it's responding in some way that's different than the other versions we've worked with.
Scott, do you want to give just a super brief preview too of device association, which will impact devices probably like thermostats as well, wouldn't you suspect? At least the locks.
Yeah. So one of the things we're working on in the hub is for any devices that support the association command class in Z-Wave. We are going to try, or we have plans to auto-associate them to the hub. And what association does in Z-Wave is any commands that, or any localized commands that happen to the device, it will send those notifications of those commands to whatever it is associated to. So if we associate the device to our hub, then we'll get proactive updates from them. That's one of the cases where Z-Wave devices tend to differ from Zigbee devices, is that they don't always send proactive notifications, and so that's why we have to poll those devices. But by utilizing association, we're supposed to get those. So for example, door locks that support association, when you manually lock or unlock the device, manually lock or unlock the door lock, it will let the hub know that that change has happened. Some door locks don't support association, and so we don't. So we have to continue to poll those devices.
Well, and in fact,
that's coming along.
It's slightly worse on door locks because of the encryption they go through. We don't poll those right now. Thermostats we poll, but because door locks have the extra security, we're not actually polling those, right?
That's right. Because, like Jesse said, with the secure command, it takes more time, and there are a couple messages that have to pass back and forth, so we don't pull those.
Cool. And from Craig, I really like the idea of us trying to do an archive of those past emails that have gone out, and we'll see if we can put that together. You're welcome. Interesting. Any thoughts, Jesse or Scott, on pins for door locks?
Yeah, pins for door locks are definitely something we want to support, and different door locks support them slightly differently. So we don't currently have a way to do that, but it's definitely something we want to be able to do, with the idea that you could manage your PIN codes for time of day or week. So if you had someone come to let your dogs out or clean your house, you could set a PIN code for that person and have them just to let that PIN code work that specific time of day or week. Also, one-time PIN codes if you had a contractor come to the house or something. So it's definitely something we're interested in supporting, but I don't even have a timeline on that yet.
Cool. All right, and I just saw Zach popped back up. Let's see what he's got for us. Oh no, he's muted again.
Probably on purpose.
Mute. Zach, see what you can do. Zach, can you talk now? Nothing there. I only have one button to play with here. Let's try and do that connect and disconnect, because I totally want to see this. Have Zach talk about it. All right, but he did throw the code up in the paste bin. So for anybody who joined late, Zach was challenged within the time of our hangout. Hey, there he is. Cool. Zach, go for it, man. No luck.
Maybe he could still screen share.
Intern.
We've got subtitles now. So we're subscribing to the luminosity sensor. Cool. It's pretty cool.
I'm gonna try to simulate it.
Cool. Yeah.
See if it's worth his money.
Yeah, that's the test. Has Zach tried it?
Yeah, the new Office Space does not have any dimmers. Well, I think at least conceptually that looks to me like it would work.
Yeah, I'd say he passes this week.
Nice work, Zach. That's pretty cool. All right, so very nice. I guess thanks everyone for being here. Good job, Zach. Next week, I believe we're going to have Ermin doing some sort of a game.
But it didn't help me.
A game where he's going to have to find a bunch of different locations and show up at with his presence tag or something like that. Any other questions, please jump in, and let's see, and we'll wrap up pretty soon. Thank you very much, Greg. We really appreciate having you as well. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining Office Hours, and hopefully we'll see you again next week, same time, 4 o'clock. Have a good one, everybody. Signing off.